Welcome back to my channel, everyone. This is Ellen Red with Twin Flame Initiates. I am a spiritual medium and a twin flame and ascension guide. And I'm coming on today to talk about twin flame separation and, the need for the two to both have soul recognition if you're going to start going into the twin flame journey. So it's kind of like, if you don't both have an awareness and a recognition and an acceptance and, both recognize one another and go forward into that union, you're going to have a hard time with the journey itself. It can happen where one partner versus the other recognizes the other first, but if you're focused upon somebody and you really believe it's your twin and they're not having that soul recognition with you, it's going to be really difficult for you. And the best thing at that time for you to do is to come back into the self and to start working more with source and getting source guidance and source help and working through it. I say this all the time, that it's really, really important to be very careful with believing that somebody is your twin flame when you both don't have the activation. The activation is not just going to be Kundalini, it's also going to be, full soul recognition that happens to both parties. And oftentimes they are, they are introduced to each other through source. So if you're not having that and you both don't have it, then the likelihood that there could be ET interference or other types of distortions there is really high. There's a lot of souls right now that are going through many various layers of ascension and evolution, and a lot of time, and especially with the twin flame journey, because it really can be very illusory and very challenging to work through all of that wiring and that corrupted misinformation and distorted information and mind matrix and wiring that's going to create a lot of confusion. And so if you want to get through that more peacefully and with the least amount of drama and chaos and getting stuck on the wrong mates and those kinds of things, then you really need to make sure that your first priority is to daily and regularly all the time connect with source. Nobody knows who your twin flame is better than source. Source created you. And so I had a recent client who is a pretty evolved ascended person. He and the person that he believes is his divine counterpart is also a pretty ascended person. This isn't the first time I've had couples like this come to me when, one or the other they're both, kind of on the path, they're talking the talk, they're teaching people, things like that. And yet there's still that part where one or the other isn't resonating with each other. And that's a really, really dangerous territory to be going down that road for a long time. And I'm not saying it can't happen, but I'm just saying that if that is the case for somebody, that the first thing that you need to do is to begin to not have physical conversation with them, especially if one's feeling like the other is their twin and the other one isn't. You need to go inside of yourself, step away from them in the physical world and begin to do the inner work between your high soul and source, and start to make those connections and really work through all the bugs. As you're doing that and you're staying aligned there, you're actually able to assist who your true counterpart is either way. So it can be really tricky. I can tell you that in my own experience, I too thought that somebody else was my twin flame for a good almost year while my twin flame was trying to get my attention. And but the reason why I thought that is because I had the soul activation and I had the Kundalini awakening while I was with the other person. And so I was thinking that it was them that the spirit was guiding me to, because it was such a profound spiritual experience. And so I realized that that can happen. However, the soul activation that I was having and the Kundalini activation I was having, my true twin flame was also having in his own reality, and it was leading us to each other. And when we met, we did have recognition of each other. And so, you know, if you're not having that, I'm not saying that I'm not saying it's impossible to not have it and still be twin flames, but I'm just saying that most twin flames, when they're really ready to be united, or at least to go on the journey of the twin flames, they're going to have soul recognition, and they're going to have really, really high voltage metaphysical experiences to help activate them so that they are aware of what's going on. If they're not having that, and they're both not, and one is and one isn't, that's a really good sign that it's a mismatch. And that also happens a lot, just like it did with me, where, you know, I was being awakened with my true twin. The person I thought was my twin wasn't, and he wasn't having any of the metaphysical experiences. So he thought I was completely crazy, but it's because he wasn't really my match. And so, you know, you need to be flexible in this journey, because it's a very sacred journey, and there are so many false programs around love and relationships and even mates, and there is so much shadow work around it, and a tremendous amount of distorted and corrupted connections, soul ties and soul bonds and things like that, that are entangling all of the people in the astral realms together until they get cleared. And it can take a lot of clearing. And so I just feel like it's really important for you guys to know that, you know, if you're not getting a confirmation from the person that you think is your counterpart, that the best thing to do is, rather than going and knocking on their door, hey, remember me, don't you recognize me, is don't do that. To come inward into the soul and to begin to do the inner work and to stay aligned with source. You know, you have to stay aligned with source if you're going to be able to love your divine counterpart, period. And what that means is that you also can't just, you know, push them into further growth than they're ready for. You have to learn patience and trust, and to trust in divinity and those kinds of things. It's not something that you're going to be able to force, no matter how bad you want it or how much you think it hurts. When you're aligning with source, with or without your twin flame, you're really not going to be feeling suffering. And the more that you continue to align with source and learn those true codes, then the more that you're also going to help your counterpart to energetically align as well, so that you can have a union if it's your destiny. And I say that because it's not everybody's destiny in this particular incarnation to come together in the physical. There are many twin flames who are very much actual twin flames, activated and all, who are in other marriages and are going to fulfill that, and who are, you know, not, their soul mission isn't to come together. And then there are many that are. Our true blueprint is to be together, but in this particular timeline that we're going through, you know, it's more important that the divine counterparts are anchoring the energy and having inner union to anchor the codes onto the earth plane. It's not necessary to have the physical union. It may happen for some and it may not for others, and that's okay. It's not necessarily about that, especially in this timeline. So be easy with yourselves and each other, and understand that, you know, the twin flame journey is about a heck of a lot more than a romance story alone. Although it is a romance story, it is really the most sacred romance story in the cosmos. but it's an eternal romance, and you don't need to have it all figured out right this very second. And you don't need to get your counterpart to understand everything you understand right this second. You need to learn the codes of love so that you can love each other and love the soul and love all beings in the true blueprint. And that's the purpose of divine counterparts coming together, is to anchor the true codes of love onto the earth plane. And those codes are unconditional. It means that I don't need my divine counterpart to sit here and hold my hand every day in everything that I do in order to have love, in order to honor the love that's there, in order to honor the union, the holy matrimony. I honor it at all times, everywhere I go, with or without him in my physical reality. And I hope that this is making sense. I just wanted to come on and tap on that one a little bit for you. Again, I do private sessions for you guys, so feel free, if you need some specific guidance, to reach out to me. If you're in a union and you are already communicating with your twin flame, feel free to schedule a Trinity session. Those can be very helpful, where you have a private one and they have a private one, and then there's one together to help you guys bridge the areas where you're struggling to have that matrimony within. So a lot of information, but I hope that this helped you guys, and I will see you on the next one. Okay, namaste. And by the way, feel free to like, comment, share the videos so that others can see it as well. Okay, bye bye.